Hello everybody and welcome to this video. It's the continuation in my series on A-Level English Literature. Everything you see in this video comes from Mr. Bruff's Guide to A-Level English Literature, which you can download for just £4.99 at mrbruff.com or on Amazon. A fantastic ebook which was written by Kerry Lewis, aka Mrs. Spag, on Twitter. So for the last couple of videos we've looked at the different types of context. And all I want to look at in this video is how do you then use that knowledge of context. What you've got to do is tailor your knowledge to the question. Wider reading is fantastic, but there's no point in writing everything you know about a text. It's got to be relevant to the question. Equally, there's no point in tagging your knowledge of an important contextual point at the end of a paragraph, because then you won't have explored it. What you need to do is weave your knowledge into the point that you are making, and this way you're showing the reader how your awareness of context is informing your point of view. Let me give you an example. Now this is an example of weaving context into writing. The phrases in red introduce analytical commentary, which illustrates how the writer's knowledge of context informs her understanding and interpretation of the novel. Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe, published in 1852 and set in America when slavery was legal, was the second best-selling book of the 19th century after the Bible. This fact alone reflects the anti-slavery sentiment not just within America, but also the United Kingdom. There is also a story that when the President Abraham Lincoln met Stowe at the start of the Civil War, he said, "So this is the little lady who started this great war." Whether this story is to be believed is open to question. It was recounted by Stowe's son, who would have been biased and might have exaggerated his mother's reputation. Nevertheless, the anecdote raises an interesting point about the power of literature to effect social change at a time when abolitionists were, like Stowe, condemning slavery as unchristian. Laudable as its aims were, the impact of Uncle Tom's Cabin in a modern cultural context is weaker, as many of Stowe's characters have been interpreted as racial stereotypes, for example the long-suffering faithful servant and the Pickaninny children. Nevertheless, its impact as a contemporary anti-slavery novel cannot be underestimated, and many believe that it helped to lay the groundwork of the American Civil War. Now, as you can see from the phrases in red, it's not enough to just mention what you know about context. You've got to build it into the line of argument that you're writing yourself, and you've got to know when to agree or disagree, to call it into question, to take the ideas further. But this is a good example of how you can use your knowledge of context. You don't just go off on a tangent and write page upon page about what was going on at the time. You weave the context into your analysis.